the CTE program or that program or that program, and that's going to make them want to come. No one asks. Most students, when you ask them, don't actually really want to be in those programs. Their parents might want them to be, but the kids don't. So Sierra's a pretty typical story for a lot of Patterson students. That's her father, Michael. He graduated from Patterson probably like 30 years ago, and so that's why she wanted to go. Sierra signed a Division I scholarship offer, that's what she's doing right there, to go to Towson University. Very bright girl. She got recruited by Western private schools, some of the best private schools in the area, and she didn't leave Patterson because she was proud of going there, and she liked the support that she got from her athletic group, and she wanted to graduate from the place that her father graduated from. So, Sarah was my basketball player, so I get a little choked up about that. This is Tavera. So she represents something I'll talk about later in my presentation, just the need for students to have positive affiliation. So I coached basketball at Patterson High School. I've been a volunteer coach since I left the school originally. And so we got a lot of girls recommended to us because they're angry or no one else can figure them out. So she got stuck on the basketball team. She really wasn't eligible, but found a way to get her to be eligible, and she was on the basketball team. She didn't have any more fights. She passed all of her classes for the first time in a really long time, and she graduated. Not really a success story, but again, she sort of embodies the need for students to have positive affiliation. And this is PJ. Actually, no, PJ. He started off his sophomore year of college, or at high school at Patterson. He missed something like 60 days. He was dealing drugs, involved in things that he shouldn't be. He's a smart boy. His dad was in jail, mom was dead. Living at just a random person's house. He played football, but had a bad attitude because the coach benched him. And he got involved in a positive program at Patterson. He had a mentor, a caring mentor. He turned his grades around, became someone who really cared about his academics. And this is him graduating from college. And he actually graduated on time, which is very exciting. And then this is Carolina. Carolina left City College. She wasn't happy at City College. She went for 2 weeks and decided she'd rather come to Patterson. So we actually surprisingly have a lot of students like that who end up at Patterson just because they're unhappy at whatever the magnet school is. She ended up being our valedictorian, and she's now at UNC Wilmington. And then this is Hule. About Carolina also, her parents are not native English speakers. So again, sort of representative of that. This is Hule. She's an African refugee. Her father was a high-ranking officer in the country's government. He was in danger of being assassinated after a regime change. And so now they moved to Baltimore. And Hule is the student I was telling you about who drove 2 hours each way to come to Patterson because she so liked the experience that she had. She was connected with a good group of people. She got support in ESOL services. Probably didn't get the education. Definitely didn't get the education she deserved. But she sort of represents a large refugee population at Patterson. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the problem, some context, typical students. Now here's the strategy. So my thinking is every student gains a competitive advantage, positive affiliation for all students. The school is a community center, a best company to work for, and then a data-driven organization, and then maximizing use of resources. So with every student gains a competitive advantage, you have to be competitive in the basics before you can be competitive and have a competitive advantage. Starting off there, competing and sort of possessing worldly knowledge, competing, and then from there, then you can really sort of separate yourself from others. Competing and ability to operate in the land of opportunity, and then unique extra, sort of the development of that competitive advantage. So competing in the basics, for me it starts with standards-based grading and movement through courses. We have a lot of high schools here that are basically diploma mills, and you're rewarded by completing your worksheets and coming to school. And that really needs to change, and actually that turns off a lot of your smarter students. And that's why a lot of them, stop coming or stop trying, is because it's not at their pace. It's kind of treating the student as if they just have to be there, and follow my orders. It's not something that's pleasant. So, but that's certainly not something that's unique to Patterson. The use of growth assessment. So one of the best things that I learned about in my last role last year was I learned about growth assessments. I knew that they existed, but I actually got practice in implementing and administering one in the school. And that was really powerful, and it was something I was always interested in, but now I feel like I have the ability to do that. So that's something I want to do just because, again, so many of the students come in far behind, and you want to place them in places where they can be successful and grow. And so that's an important piece of the plan. So multi-level courses is also really important. We tend to sort of teach to the middle, which the middle in a school like Patterson is actually not even on grade level. It's pretty significantly far behind grade level. So again, using those growth assessments to help students, go into challenging but also just right courses. Courses with compelling areas of focus. So English 1 is not a sexy name. What kid wants to take English 1? What kid wants to take Music 1? I think something I really want to borrow from is the idea of what private schools do. The course title has meaning. It tells you that a kid wants to take it. So instead of Music 1, Intro to Songwriting, where you can cover all the content that's required to be in Music 1, but you're actually doing it in a more fun, engaging way. So computing and worldly knowledge, substantial elective offerings. The great thing about being a large high school, a lot of people, sort of brag on, large high schools, but they can also offer a lot more to students at a time when students don't really know what they want. And so having that variety is really important. So 4 years of foreign language. I don't know many schools in the city that offer that, and that's ridiculous. And apparently it's because Maryland only requires 2 years to get into its university system. I mean, that just seems criminal that we're not offering students that opportunity. 4 years of art, 4 years of music, and then Patterson has a variety of CTE programs. If you really want to go to a good CTE program, you're going to want to go. I mean, that's it. They have the facilities. They have more offerings. So we're kind of made to get out of the business of trying to be everything in the CTE world. So focusing on just a few priorities. And then exposure to experiences. So, nature, which a lot of our kids don't get. Patterson's mascot is a clipper ship. So having some sort of like outward bound kind of experience where kids actually go on one or have the opportunity to sail. I think about this when I think about things that you talk about in small talk. You have to have these experiences to draw from. So that's me competing when I was younger and scared. Competing ability to operate in a way of opportunity. So I want to change kids' mindsets. And I think actually it starts with changing the adults' mindsets. A lot of teachers don't think or know to take care of their own career. Or to think about, what they put on their resume. It's a lot of experience versus results. So sort of changing that mindset, not just for the students in the building, but also for the adults. So heavy focus on technology use, financial literacy, like John says, I'm huge on that. Mandatory economics course. I think it's criminal that our students don't have at least a semester of that, especially now with the way things are going in our nation. Trying to grow the number of students graduating with advanced placement in economics. 4-year goal setting and tracking, probably through some sort of portfolio exercise. Guidance on development of results-oriented resumes, networking connections, and then so the unique extra for me, right now it's 2 things, but that's why you hire a team, because you get new ideas. So high need foreign languages. So scrapping French, scrapping most Spanish offerings, and instead focusing on languages that are going to get our kids jobs. Arabic languages, Mandarin, they own most of our debt, so we need to start learning the language. And Spanish, in sort of limited areas, particularly for kids who feel passionate about going into certain career paths. And then early college or advanced placement credits. So back to positive affiliation, I talked about Tavera. Every student affiliated with a team, a club, a group, or a band. And some of these things are things that Patterson had decades ago, but they disappeared for whatever reason. And so bringing those things back, every student connected with a high commitment, extracurricular, or employment. So having someone devoted to helping students get jobs, because a lot of them want them. Frankly, a lot of them need them to pay for bills in their home. And then daily crew, it's basically an advisory. It's a term from expedition learning schools, but it's like the one that fits Patterson with the whole clipper ship idea, and the whole concept that we want to develop those each student well.
If you want to give some time for questions, and we're going to stop and wrap up, so the first we'll keep going.
I can race through. Does anyone care if I finish quickly? Okay. All right. So schools community center. This is something I feel we're really passionate about this is the location. So recruit volunteers and community partners. Opening the building up to outside use by churches, that's something that Mark does at Commodore. It's great for teachers because the building's open more. They can come in and work if they want, but it also just gives people a good feeling about the building. So private-public partnerships, so the daycare common, a lot of our students don't attend school because they're taking care of a younger brother or sister, or they have children of their own, and a lot of them have infants, which most places don't serve. They only take after 2 or up. And so the idea of swapping space for vouchers for students to a private daycare company. So best company to work for. So Megan Patterson, the best company to work for. I think that a lot of people in education don't really take time to show care for their employees, and so having a strategy for that.
We've actually got a transition.
Okay, good. Any questions? Sorry.
More plugs for the reception after. Is that going to go up and chat?
Okay.
The reception after.
Sorry.